Hello and good evening, aspirants. So, am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, so in today's session, what we'll be covering is IT and computers from this prelims point of view. So, what is the significance of this topic for prelims? So, IT and computers. So, if you look at the total number of questions of science and technology that is being asked in your prelims, so it is around 14 to 15 questions that are being asked in your prelims from science and technology. And in that, if you look at IT and computers, there are around 5 to 6 questions which are being asked from IT and computers itself. So this topic is of utmost importance for prelims. So what do we need to cover in this IT and computers? So in your syllabus, in your GS paper syllabus, or paper 3, so IT and computers, they have just mentioned, UPSC has just mentioned IT and computers. But with respect to IT and computers, so Ram, yes, hello. So am I audible? Am I clear? Is my voice clear to all of you? So what we need to cover are some of the most important developments in this field. I'll just check. I guess there is some technical issue. Okay. Okay, so what? Okay, so what are the things that we'll be covering in this IT and computers? So the most important topics with respect to IT and computers, we'll be covering it today. So topics like your cryptocurrency or NFT. So we'll try to understand the significance of this topic. So what is Web 1.0, what is Web 2.0, what is Web 3.0? So you need to have an understanding of these different webs. So if you have an understanding of this, then only we can appreciate your cryptocurrency or NFT or let us say blockchain. So all of this falls in Web 3.0. So we'll try to develop an understanding of that. Then we'll see the other developments like AI. So ChatGPT is in news. So we'll try to understand. So what is this ChatGPT and what are the ethical issues that are arising because of this ChatGPT? So we need to develop a holistic understanding of AI, not only with respect to ChatGPT, but with respect to everything related to that. So what are the ethical dimensions related to chat gpt? Then we'll also try to cover the different types of missions, like with respect to computing. So we need to have an understanding of supercomputing, we need to have an understanding of quantum computing, we need to have understanding of edge computing, we need to have an understanding of what is cloud computing, and questions have been asked from these sections. So these sections are very important for us to know. And also government had recently launched the national semiconductor mission, so we need to understand that why government had to go for launching of national semiconductor mission. So what is the uniqueness about this mission? So we'll try to understand that, and we'll try to develop an understanding of all these things. So what is the first thing that we need to develop? We need to develop an understanding of what is web 1.0. Okay, I guess there is some issue with my pen tab. Okay, let us just try to understand in this way only. So what is web 1.0? So web 1.0, so in internet we say that there are evolutions. So the internet has seen evolution. So we have now three stages of internet. The first stage is called as web 1.0, second stage is called as web 2.0, third stage is called as web 3.0. At present we are at web 2.0. So when we talk about what is web 1.0, so web 1.0 was when the websites that were designed were basically static in nature. What do we mean by static websites? So it means it was not communicative, it was not interactive. So you can go to that website and can get access to some of the information which is posted on that website, but you cannot interact with that website. You cannot get any services from that website. You cannot buy and sell from those type of websites. So you cannot let us say you go on a government website and you cannot get your work done. So those were basic websites. Those were known as static websites. So this was the initial phase of internet. So that was the phase of web 1.0. Eventually we moved from web 1.0 to web 2.0. In web 2.0 the websites became dynamic. When we say websites became dynamic, it means that websites now became interactive. So you could now go to a website and you could communicate with the owner of the website or the makers of the website. You can get some services done, you can avail some services, you can buy products, you can sell products. So this is web 2.0. So the present version of internet that we are using is mostly web 2.0, where it is interactive, where the websites are interactive in nature. So this is the idea of web 2.0. But there are certain problems with respect to web 2.0. What are the problems with respect to web 2.0? First problem is that internet is being dominated by mainly few companies, few big companies. So what are known as the FANG companies, or what is called as Facebook, Apple, Amazon, or Alphabet, Netflix, and Google. So these are the 4-5 companies which have dominated the internet. So even if you look at our lifestyle, so you would see that if you have to search something, we are using Google. If you have to look for any video, we are either looking at YouTube, or either we are looking at Netflix. So if we want to entertain ourselves, then again, so we are using Netflix. So Apple, so most of us want to use Apple products and services. So internet is being dominated by these 4-5 companies, or the FANG companies. Now Facebook has changed its name, so it is now called as the MANG companies. So this is the problem with web 2.0, that it is being dominated by few companies only. And also, what is the problem? Another problem of web 2.0 is that internet, or because of the internet dominance by these companies, privacy of individuals is appearing to be a myth. So there is very least concern about privacy. So privacy if our data is not protected, we do not have control over our data. So our data, the problem with web 2.0, that we cannot control our data. So our data is being taken by these companies, and they are being stored somewhere, and we do not have any we do not need to give any approval or consent. They are taking our data, and because of that there is a concern with respect to privacy, that privacy does not exist in web 2.0. So the idea of web 3.0 came. So what is this idea about web 3.0? Idea of web 3.0 is opposite to the idea of web 2.0. Web 2.0 has led to centralization or monopolization by few companies over internet. The idea of web 3.0 is that internet is for all, and it should be decentralized. It should not be dominated by few companies, but it should be decentralized. That is the idea of web 3.0. And another dominant idea of web 3.0 is that if it is decentralized, and then the people should have control over their personal data. They should have absolute control over their personal data. So you need to take consent if you are trying to use their personal data. So in this scenario, privacy becomes the cornerstone of web 3.0. Now what powers the web 3.0, or what are the examples of web 3.0? So if you look at the examples of web 3.0, so examples like blockchain, example of cryptocurrency, example of NFT, these are all your examples of web 3.0 only, and all these will be powered by artificial intelligence. So the idea of web 3.0 is not a new idea. It started, or it emerged with the 2008 global financial crisis. So in the 2008 global financial crisis, it was felt that that crisis has come because of too much centralization of money. Because of too much centralization of money, the feds and the banks, they collaborated with each other, or they formed nexus, and the common people were the ones who suffered the most. So there was a group known as Satoshi Nakamoto. So it is a person or it is a group, till now we do not know. It is a pseudonym as of now also, that these group of people or a particular person, he or the group felt that this crisis has occurred because of too much centralization of money. So we now need to create a decentralized money or peer-to-peer money. So the idea of cryptocurrency emerged. And how will cryptocurrency work? So it will need a blockchain based technology. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to develop a basic understanding of blockchain. So I know blockchain is quite in news, so we need to be aware about blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFT, and these are the favorite areas from where UPSC is making questions. So we'll see the questions also which UPSC has already asked from these sections. So we'll try to develop an understanding of this. So let us see what is blockchain. So what are we seeing in this blockchain? So in a blockchain, so what is a blockchain? Blockchain, the idea of blockchain is that it is a ledger. What is a ledger? So ledger, if you understand, it is just a book which keeps a record of transactions. So the general ledger that we know, or in Hindi we also call it as khata bai. So what is the idea of this ledger? The idea of the ledger is to maintain the record of the transactions. So we are trying to maintain a record of the transactions here also, but how we are doing it is quite different from conventional ledgers. So here what we are doing is that a blockchain, in a blockchain we will create a block. What is that block? That block, so in this you can see the block that is created here. The block that is created here is is being added to the blockchain. So how is it being added to the blockchain? So what is a block here? A block is nothing but a piece of information, and that block has to be already added, or it has to be added to an already existing blockchain. So this piece of information is sent to all the nodes. So all of the person in this node, they give approval. So imagine that you want to create a library, you want to create a digital library of books, digital library of books, and all the members in your classroom, they have decided that they will form a digital library. Now all of you are becoming nodes here. So you all are forming what is known as peer-to-peer network. Now if you want to add a particular book in your digital library, then what you need to do is you will create a block. In that block you will say that you are trying to add this particular book, and this book is written by this person, and you are wanting to add this to this particular list of books or to the library of books. So the whole class of yours is maintaining that library. So if you want to add one particular book, you will need the permission of everybody in this library. So what you're doing, that this piece of block is created and it is broadcasted to every individual in this network. And because it is broadcasted to every individual in the network, so what is happening, so you can see here, so it is being broadcasted to every network. So the network of the nodes uses an algorithm to validate the transaction and user status. So what is done after it is broadcasted, so everybody among you will validate it. So if it is validated that yes, you can add this particular book, then it will get added to the transaction is combined with other transactions once verified to create new block of data for the ledger. So the new block is then added to the existing blockchain, and the transaction is complete. So this is how a blockchain works. So what are we doing in a blockchain? Why are we saying that it is decentralized? Because we are sending this to all the nodes here. We are sending this piece of information to all the nodes here, and then we are getting validation that whether this particular block can be added to the existing blockchain or not. And then after everybody has given the validation, can it get added to the blockchain. So these are some of the features of the blockchain. So what are the features of the blockchain? So first of all, we are saying that it is decentralized. Why it is decentralized? So it is decentralized because everybody in this network has access, has equal powers. Everybody validates. Since everybody is validating, it means that everybody is responsible. So it is decentralized. It is not that one individual is responsible for the blockchain. Everybody among you is responsible for the blockchain. So that is the uniqueness, that is the main idea of your blockchain. And what we are saying, that it is immutable. What do you mean by immutable? So here the idea of immutable is that once the data is recorded, it is extremely difficult to alter it or delete it. So this is important. Why? Because we need to maintain the integrity of the data, so that the data that has been created does not get lost or is not tampered. And tampering it is quite difficult also. Why? Because every node in this network has the information regarding this. So if you want to tamper it, you will have to hack every node in this network, and then only you will be able to tamper the data. That is why it is said that blockchains are very secure, because we are using this mechanism, because of this distributed or decentralized system. It is transparent also. What do we mean by transparency? So because every transaction is being broadcasted to the network, to the peer-to-peer network. So every person on the network is aware of what is happening in the blockchain. That is why it is more transparent. So it ensures transparency to the members of the blockchain. But those who are outside this blockchain, for them there is no transparency. So it appears like a black box only. It is more secure. Why the security is more? The security is more because we are using some cryptographic algorithms. What are cryptographic algorithms? What do you mean by cryptography? Cryptography is a general term that is nowadays being used quite extensively. So here we are saying, what is cryptography? Cryptography in WhatsApp also we say that it is end-to-end encrypted. So what is encryption essentially? Encryption means we are trying to hide the original data, so that anybody who intervenes or anybody who gets an access to that data, also to the original data, he or she will not be able to read or understand that data. So we are hiding the original data by using some cryptography, by using some mathematical puzzles or problems. So that is what is known as cryptographic. So whenever this block is created, when this block is sent to the peers for validation, so then it is encrypted. And since it is encrypted, even if somebody intercepts it, so they will not be able to read what is inside the block. So only the recipients, so the intended recipients can only read this. Why? Because they will only have the key, others will not be able to read this. So that is why, because of the use of cryptographic algorithm, so this becomes, blockchains become very, very secure. And it is also distributed ledger. So why it is a distributed ledger? Because it is shared among all the participants in the network. So just as we saw the example of the digital library that your whole classroom has created, so it is shared among all the nodes. That is why. Smart contracts. So blockchain technology enables the creation of self-executing contracts with terms of agreements between buyer and seller being directly written into lines of code. So essentially this is one of the application of the blockchain with respect to the contracts. So with respect to contracts, so we can form these smart contracts. So these are self-executing contracts with the terms and agreements between buyer and seller being directly written into lines of code. So what are the benefits of the blockchain? So some benefits you can see from the features itself. The benefits are deriving from the features. It is time effective. The blockchain is very time effective. Direct transactions are possible. Direct transactions. So here we are eliminating overhead and intermediary costs. So let us take an example. When we are sending cryptocurrency, when you have to send cryptocurrency from India to US, so traditionally, if you have to send money from India to USA, then we'll have to use the services of banks. So we'll have to convert rupees into dollars, then that dollars will be sent to USA. So you will need an intermediary, that is a bank, to send money from India to USA. But in case of blockchain based currencies or cryptocurrencies, you will not need any intermediaries. So if you're not using intermediaries, the overhead cost is drastically reduced. That is the biggest benefit of blockchain based technology. It will reduce the risk related to cyber crimes, frauds and tampering. So that we have already said that one of the unique features of your blockchain is that it is highly secure because we are using cryptography. So because we are using cryptographic algorithms to send the blocks, to validate the blocks, to append the block. So because of that, use of cryptography hacking is quite difficult of blockchain based techniques. And we have also said that it is more transparent with proper record creation and tracking. So it is quite transparent for the members who are the members of the nodes or who have formed this blockchain. But for any person who is outside this blockchain, it is not transparent. So you will come to know that in case of cryptocurrency, one of the major concern with respect to cryptocurrency is that people can do anonymous purchases. What do you mean by anonymous purchases? It means the government cannot look into who is buying what or who has transferred let us say Bitcoin to another person. So that is a cause of concern also. That is why many of the countries, they are opposed to the idea of cryptocurrency. So we'll see the regulation also of cryptocurrency, what is the status in India. And we have said that it is highly secure because we are using cryptography. So these are some of the features of your cryptography. So in this short diagram you can see that it is transparent, it is flexible, it is distributed, it is open. Okay, worldwide adoption is possible, so it is secure, efficient auditability, traceability, faster transactions. So all these are reduced transaction costs. So all these are benefits of the blockchain. Now let us see some of the application of the blockchains. So the major application is in cryptocurrency. So in the financial world, so cryptocurrencies like your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and other digital currencies, they are using what blockchain technology only. So in this you can also add one more category, that is not cryptocurrency but NFT, so non-fungible token. We'll see what are non-fungible tokens also after we are done with blockchain and cryptocurrency. So smart contracts we have already seen. So it can be used in supply chain management. So blockchain can be used to track and verify the authenticity of goods they move through a supply chain. So digital, it can be used for digital identity. So in USA, the US government is using blockchain technology exhaustively to create what is known as public health record or unique health ID. So this unique health ID will be what it will be blockchain based, and every individual have this unique health ID, and all your health related data will be stored in this unique health ID. So in India also government has started what is known as the ABHA scheme. ABHA is Ayushman Bharat Health Account Scheme. In this health account scheme, just like everybody is having a UPI ID now, so in future every individual will have what is known as health ID. So that health ID will have a record of all the health related details of yours. So when we are born, where we were born, what are the types of vaccinations that we have taken, any time that we have fallen ill, then which doctor we have gone to, what are the medications that we have taken, what were the tests that were done on us. All of this information will be stored in this blockchain based health record. So that is the uniqueness about this, and this is the major application of blockchain in healthcare. So in India, using ABHA also we are trying to do the same thing. In voting system in voting system also we are trying to do the we utilize the potential of blockchain. Why? Because it is being decentralized, so monitoring of the voting or eliminating voter fraud is quite possible using blockchain technology. So when a block is created, it will be sent to, let us say, a district level a block. So it will first, that block will be sent to your booth level officer, then it will be sent to your block level officer, it will simultaneously be sent to your district level officer, state level officer. So when all of them corroborate, then only this your particular vote will be added to the voting list, so it can be used. So this demand for use of blockchain for voting increased, especially after the 2020 US presidential elections, where there were allegations that there were voter frauds during this presidential election. So there is a demand that we can utilize this blockchain technology for voting also. So it can be used for fighting corruption. So why it can help in fighting corruption? Because it will have all these in government agency. Why there is a scope for corruption? The biggest scope for corruption is that there is no proper record keeping, and because there is no proper record keeping, so there are some loopholes that are created because of that. So if we have proper record keeping and proper tracking of these records, then the chances of corruption drastically reduces in government sector. So that is the advantage. So we can use it for identity and land rights also. So in agriculture also it can be used. So these are some of the application areas of this. So one of the example is that Coffee Board of India developed a blockchain based marketplace. So this you can take a note that we can also use blockchain based technology to create marketplace. So what is a marketplace? Essentially just like we have Amazon and Flipkart. What is Amazon and Flipkart doing? So Amazon is what a platform where it is bringing the buyers and sellers together. So it is acting like a platform. How do we create those platforms? So we can use this blockchain technology to create such platforms. So Coffee Board has used this blockchain based marketplace only. So global adoption of blockchain. So let us see some recent developments. So Estonia is the world's blockchain capital. It is using blockchain infrastructure to verify the process of e-governance offered to the general public. So be a blockchain based service network was launched by China, so to deploy blockchain in the cloud at a streamlined rate. And there are other examples also which you can just see through. So Brazilian blockchain network has launched to bring participating institutions in governance. India and blockchain. So in India, the T-board is planning to adopt blockchain based technology. So there are some private players also. 3 students from Malareddy Engineering College for women have shown how blockchain technology can be used to secure the voting process. So we have seen that blockchain can be used. SEBI is also instructed all depository to make use of blockchain technology to maintain records. So wherever we can we need proper record keeping. So blockchain is revolutionary. So 1,000 years back we came up with this idea of credit and debit. So the present ledger system where we are drawing 2 lines and we are creating credit side and debit side. So that was revolutionary in case of ledger. So in case of bookkeeping. So now blockchain is considered to be new revolution. So there are other examples that RBI is working to use blockchain in banking domain. So Niti Aayog and Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizer have developed blockchain based system for fertilizer subsidy. So these are some areas where blockchain is being used. Then Directorate of Agriculture Jharkhand and Global Blockchain Technology Company Settlement India announced the successful launch of seed distribution to farmers. So IIT Kanpur is developing governance solutions based on blockchain. So you're seeing that blockchain it is being applied in so many areas and so many sectors. So that is why this blockchain is very important for us to know. So government measure to promote blockchain. So Niti Aayog and this MITI, that is Ministry of Electronics and IT, they are intending to use it for record keeping, for digital certificates, for power distribution, for health records. So we are trying to use the blockchain in all these areas. And MITI and CDAC has developed a multi-institutional project called the Distributed Center of Excellence in Blockchain. And we are also trying to set up what is known as the Center of Excellence in Blockchain Technology. So these are some of the major application areas where we are seeing the usage of blockchain. So the most important or the most significant area of application of blockchain is in cryptocurrency. So let us just try to understand what is cryptocurrency. So if somebody asks you what is the definition of cryptocurrency, what is the definition of cryptocurrency, what do you understand by cryptocurrency? So can anybody say what is a cryptocurrency? So I'll just hide this so that you can participate. So anybody, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a digital currency. Okay, yes. So one of the idea is that it is a digital currency. Yes. What is the uniqueness about cryptocurrency? Okay, so let us just try to understand what is a cryptocurrency. So yes, it is a digital currency. It is not a physical currency like our papers. So like our paper currency, cryptocurrency, you also need to understand some property of currency itself. So currency is what? It is a medium of exchange. Currency is medium of exchange. So when we came up with the idea of currency, so there are 2 ideas of currency. One idea of currency is that currency is fiat currency, or other type of currency is your fiduciary currency. What is fiat currency? It means a currency which is backed by the government, or which has it is backed by some authority. So if you talk about fiat currency, the rupee or the dollar is a fiat currency. Why? It is backed by your RBI here or Fed in USA. What is a fiduciary currency? Fiduciary currency is the type of currency which is based on trust. It is not backed by any third person. It is just based on trust between two parties, between the sender and the receiver. So an example of fiduciary currency is your checks, not the rupees, not the dollars, but the checks that you have. So in the checks, any person can deny accepting checks. So it is just based on trust. So your cryptocurrency is a digital currency which is based on trust only. So it is a type of fiduciary currency. Cryptocurrency is a type of digital currency which is a fiduciary currency, and it is irrepudiable. Irrepudiable, what do you mean by irrepudiable? Irrepudiable means the idea here is that the sender and the receiver cannot deny that they have sent or received money. The sender or the receiver cannot deny that they have sent or received money. What is the idea here is that in conventional currency, let us say if you give money to somebody, after some time that person could say that you did not give them the money at the first place. So has this happened with your friends also? So you gave money to your friend, and after some time your friends are saying that you haven't given any money. So this can happen in case of physical currency, but this cannot happen in cryptocurrency. Similarly, there are people who donate to some parties, or they donated to some people, but they deny that they haven't given money to something like this, to some organization like this. So they deny giving money. So in cryptocurrency, neither the sender nor the receiver can deny that the transaction has happened. So this is the uniqueness about cryptocurrency. So these features you should know about cryptocurrency. So what we are saying, it is a type of digital or virtual currency that is using cryptography for security. So this is the main idea, and some of the examples are your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And the transactions of the cryptocurrencies are recorded on a public ledger called as blockchain. So what are the advantages of cryptocurrency? So let us just quickly see through some of the advantages of the cryptocurrency. The first advantage is obviously it is decentralized because it is based on blockchain based, so it is decentralized. So why are we trying to create a decentralized currency? So in 2008, because of the global financial crisis, so Satoshi Nakamoto was pseudonym. So it is till now we do not know whether it was an individual or it was a group of people. So they believed that this crisis has occurred, this global financial crisis of 2008 has occurred because of too much centralization of money, and because of that common people have suffered. So the idea was to create decentralized money or peer-to-peer money which will be used for day-to-day transactions. So this was the idea of cryptocurrency. So it is a decentralized, so it is based on blockchain, so it is decentralized, it is secure. So all the features that we have seen with respect to blockchain also is prevalent here. Why? Because again we are using cryptographic algorithms to secure the transaction, and privacy will be maintained. Why? Because are recorded, but the identity of the parties can remain anonymous. So it is a public ledger, but the identity of the parties can remain anonymous. So that is an advantage. It is fast and it is inexpensive. So why it is inexpensive? Again, because no intermediaries will be involved. Because no intermediaries are involved, so it is inexpensive. So just imagine that when we have to send money from India to any other country, we do not need to convert it into some other currency. We can just directly send it to the receiver. So there is no third party needed, no intermediary needed. So that is why it is inexpensive and it is fast also. And with respect to accessibility, what do you mean by accessibility here? It means that anybody can have access to this cryptocurrency. They just need to have internet connection and making financial services available to individuals. So this can make financial services available to individuals in remote or unbanked areas also, and we are saying that it will be transparent also. So this is the feature of blockchain itself, that anything that is recorded on blockchain, it is transparent for all the members on the network. it is transparent for all the members on the network. Yes, but somebody who's outside of this network, it is not transparent to them. So it becomes a cause of concern from governance point of view. So we'll see in the concerns that this transparency is only within or to the people, those who are member of the nodes. Some examples of Bitcoin. So the famous some examples of cryptocurrency. The most famous one is here, obviously, is the Bitcoin is the first and the most well-known currency, often referred to as the gold standard of digital currency, and all the currencies which are other than Bitcoin are also called as alt coins. So Bitcoin is the leader in cryptocurrency. So even now it has the most market share in cryptocurrency. And the next most popular cryptocurrency is your Ethereum. Ethereum is also a decentralized platform that enables the creation of smart contracts and decentralized applications. And there are others like Ripple and Binance Coin or Doge Coins is another cryptocurrency. So these are some of the examples. Now we also need to understand what are the concerns related with cryptocurrency. So issues with cryptocurrency. So what are the issues with respect to cryptocurrency? So the biggest concern, yes, volatility is obviously a concern, but one of the biggest concern is from governance point of view is this idea of money laundering. So because the transactions are transparent only to the members of the nodes, but it is not transparent or it is not open to government. So government authorities, they cannot know so how the currency is being moved. Because of that, there are incidences or chances of money laundering. Because of that, it can lead to anonymous purchases and it can lead to terror financing. So this is one of the biggest concern with respect to cryptocurrency. And there are other currencies also. So first of all, volatility. So we have seen that when cryptocurrency came or when Bitcoin came, so in 2010 the one Bitcoin was trading for just 8 cents or $0.08, and in 2021 October, so the one Bitcoin was trading for 61,000 US dollars. So it had multiplied more than crores times. And now if you see, again it has fallen down to around 28 to $30,000. So it has remained volatile. So if a currency is so volatile, can we actually use it as a currency? That is a cause of concern. Because of the inherent volatility of cryptocurrency, we are not able to use it as a currency, but yes, we are using it as an asset, as a speculative asset. So you would see that people are investing in cryptocurrency. They are investing, it means that it has become an asset like stock, an asset like gold, an asset like real estate. But we are not using cryptocurrency for normal exchange, for buying goods and products and services. So that was the idea of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, but we are not using that idea. Rather, we are using it as an asset class. So why it has become an asset class is it is because the people or large institutional investors, they have started believing that this is the future, so they have started investing in it. So it has become an asset class, and because of that the volatility has further increased. So buying and selling has increased in cryptocurrency, and because of that volatility is increasing. So the biggest concern is that there is no sovereign guarantee. What do you mean by sovereign guarantee? So since it is not issued by any central government or not issued by a central bank, so it is not a legal tender. And there is a problem with respect to this, that if it is not a legal tender, so any chances of fraud or any chances of mishappenings, so in cases of in such scenarios, where can a customer go to? So how will the grievances of such people be addressed? So that is a concern. With respect to regulation also, so see, with respect to the normal currency that we have, let us say if we talk about rupees or dollars, so RBI or the Fed has absolute control over the money market. But if this currency comes in circulation, so if it acts as a currency, then the monetary authority of the central banks will be challenged. So that is the reason that many of the governments are not in favor of making cryptocurrency legal. So we'll see that what is India doing about it a little later. So international IMF has urged El Salvador to limit the scope of unregulated asset, as there are large risks associated with the use of Bitcoin for financial stability. So what is the significance of El Salvador? So you can note that El Salvador and Cuba has made Bitcoin what legal tender. So in USA, in El Salvador and Cuba, they have made it a legal tender. So what is IMF suggesting to El Salvador? To limit the scope of the unregulated assets. And scalability, what is the scalability issue? Meaning that they can process a limited number of transactions per second, so this can lead to slow transaction. So why there is a problem with respect to time in cryptocurrency? It is because, if you remember, that cryptocurrency is blockchain based, and in blockchain, when every piece of block is created, it is sent to all the nodes, and it is sent to all the nodes for validation. Only if all the nodes are giving validation, or if they are approving, can a blockchain go through or can get added to the pre-existing blockchain. But this validation process, when everybody gives their consent, it becomes a very, very challenging step. So getting consensus becomes a challenge. That is why it takes time. So that is one of the concern also, so with respect to your cryptocurrency. And lack of widespread adoption. So why? Because cryptocurrencies, and these are very new type of currencies, not many people are aware about cryptocurrencies. So this is a cause of concern also. So only affluent peoples are aware about this. If you look at a country like India, so we see the issues of digital divide. So not in some regions of India, you will see that people are not having even smartphones. If they're not having smartphones, how can they get access to internet? If they do not have access to internet, how can they know about cryptocurrency? So this is also one of the concerns with respect to your cryptocurrency. And then security risk is also there. So we have used blockchain. So blockchains are secure, but it is not foolproof. So we have seen incidences where this cryptocurrency marketplaces were hacked. Bitcoin were stolen by some of the hackers. So it is secure, but it is still not 100% immune to cyber attacks. And this is a cause of concern also. And complexity, because the very nature of blockchain is quite complex for normal people to understand. So because of that, it might hamper the adoption of cryptocurrency in a country like India, where literacy rate is still not very, very high. And one of the biggest concern with respect to energy consumption or infrastructure is that it requires huge amounts of energy. Why it requires huge amounts of energy? Because every transaction that we create, every block that we create, we need to do what? We first need to make it encrypted. So we encrypt the block. So in order to make it and to get it encrypted, we need what? Software power, we need hardware power. So that requires a lot of computing power. So you have to set up some systems for that. So we set up hardware and software for that, and then it will be sent to all the nodes. Then those nodes also need some sophisticated hardware and software to validate it. Then it will get added. So it will get a blockchain. So this blockchain has to be maintained. So it requires huge amounts of energy for all the steps. And because of that, in some countries, specifically like China has gone for a complete blanket ban of crypto mining or any form of crypto trading. So in this example, you can see that in the year 2018, the total electricity of Bitcoin mining equivalent to the mid-sized economies like Switzerland. So it consumes a huge amount of power. So let us just look at what is the global scenario with respect to cryptocurrency, which countries are accepting it, which countries are rejecting it, and what is the stand of India. So in Japan has officially recognized Bitcoin as a currency and has put in place regulations to support the use of cryptocurrency. South Korea also has embraced cryptocurrency. Switzerland, particularly the city of Zug, is often referred to as Crypto Valley due to favorable regulations and support of the technology. Malta has positioned itself as a hub of cryptocurrency and blockchain business. USA has taken a more cautious approach to cryptocurrencies and has come up with some regulations in place, but also is home to many blockchain and cryptocurrency. So mainly, so these ideas of cryptocurrency and blockchain, they have emerged in USA only. So they are early adopters only. Canada has been supportive of cryptocurrency industry and has come up with certain regulations. What is the stand with respect to India? So what is the stand with respect to India? So in India, you need to understand that Indian government has made a bill which is known as the cryptocurrency and official digital currency regulation bill, but this bill has not been passed in the parliament. So until unless this bill is passed, we cannot say that whether it is illegal or whether it is legal in India. As of now, what has government done in the previous year's budget, that government has said that it will tax VDAs, that is virtual digital assets, at a rate of 30%. So as of now, cryptocurrency is not illegal in India. In 2018 in India, what had RBI done? So RBI had put a ban on banks. So RBI had put a ban on banks in dealing with cryptocurrency. So it had literally put a ban on cryptocurrency market in 2018. So RBI had literally banned cryptocurrency in India in 2018. But in 2020, Supreme Court lifted this ban, and since then, cryptocurrency or crypto trading is not illegal in India. And the market within a year or two, it has became multifold. So now it is more than $1 billion market, the Indian crypto market. So government has realized that it has potential, but it is treating with caution. So government has come up with the bill, but it hasn't passed it. But it has started a taxation system that it will tax the cryptocurrency. Hello Sanatam, yes. So it will tax cryptocurrency at 30% rate. So this rate is quite high. If you compare with LTCG, do you know what is LTCG, long term capital gain tax? Yes, what is LTCG, long term capital gain tax? Okay. So long-term capital gain tax, you should know that for any capital gain means when you have an asset. Let us say you have a stock, you have a stock of any company, and that appreciates. So you bought it for 100 rupees and it has now appreciated to, let us say, 150 rupees. Now that 50 rupees into the number of quantities, that is your capital appreciation. So if that asset, that stock, if you have held it for more than a year, then that would come as a long term capital gain tax, and that is around 10%. That is 10% in India. And short term capital gain tax is when you're buying and selling it within a year. If you haven't kept it for long period, then it is called as short term capital gain, and that tax is around 15. That tax is 15%. So in India, the virtual digital assets, they will be taxed at 30% rate. So that is the taxation rate, that is quite high. So because of that, there has been demand that we should be reducing the taxation on this. So government in a way is trying to discourage the transactions in cryptocurrency. And next what we'll see, so next we'll try to understand this NFT question had come in 2022. So let us just try to understand what is this NFT now. So what is non-fungible token? So non-fungible, what does this word non-fungible mean? This word non-fungible means that something which is unique. So if you take a painting of Mona Lisa or painting of Van Gogh or Picasso, so those paintings are what they are unique. Because they are unique, they cannot be used as a medium of exchange. They cannot be traded for exchange. So we are not using to buy and sell things. So NFTs are what? So here we are talking about digital assets. or digital, these are digital art pieces. So in the digital world also, we can create something which is unique, which is like a digital art, and we can buy and sell them, but we are not using it for or we are not using it as a medium of transaction. That is the uniqueness. Again, with respect to NFT also, we are using blockchain technology only to record the transactions. That is who created a particular digital piece of art, so who is now the owner, who sold it for at what price, to whom he or she sold at what price. So these NFTs are based on blockchain only, but they are not like cryptocurrencies are fungible. It means it is exchangeable. So let us say if you have one bitcoin and if I have one bitcoin, so we both can exchange one bitcoin and we still have at the end one bitcoin only. But in case of NFT is not exchangeable. Why? Because it is unique. So for example, if you have 10 rupee note and I have 10 rupee note, we can exchange, and at the end we both are having same value of the note. But what if your note was given to you by your grandfather and he had put a signature on that? So in that scenario, your 10 rupee note becomes non-fungible or unique. So NFTs, so we are talking about something in the digital world, not in the physical world. These are our assets. These are digital assets. So last year Amitabh Bachchan had recorded Madhushala in his voice and he had sold it as an NFT. So Madhushala is a poetry written by his father, so he recorded in his voice and made it an NFT and then sold it. So income tax department later came to his house and asked for income tax also. So NFT is also a virtual digital asset and it is also taxed. So government in the budget, last year's budget had said that it will tax virtual digital assets. So what are virtual digital assets? So they are your cryptocurrencies, they are your NFT, and they are even computer codes also. So some of the software professionals, they can they do coding and they sell the codes also. So if they are making money out of selling of the codes also, then that is also taxable. That also falls under virtual digital asset. So that is the uniqueness. So let us just try to solve this question. With reference to NFT, consider the following statements. Everybody can try this question. Everybody can try this question. What is the answer? Yes. Okay, so let us just look at the question. With reference to non-fungible tokens, consider the following statements. They enable the digital representation of physical assets. Yes, so we can make something physical into digital asset also. Just as we saw the case of Amitabh Bachchan converting his voice and Madhusala into a digital asset. That is also an example of converting digital physical into a digital asset. They are unique cryptographic tokens that exist on blockchain. So yes, we are using blockchain technology. In NFT, they can be traded or exchanged at equivalency and therefore can be used as a medium of commercial transactions. So can they be used as a medium of commercial transaction? Yes, Ishwarya. For commercial transaction, we have created cryptocurrency. NFT is a digital piece, digital art. We are not using it as a medium of commercial transaction. It is not a currency. Currency is used for commercial transaction. So the third statement is not correct. The first two statements are correct. Yes. Okay, so let us just look at another question. So let us look at the second question. So we have dealt with blockchain, we have dealt with cryptocurrency, we have dealt with NFT. So let us try this question. Hello, Maheshwari. Okay, so let us just read this question. Let us get to the answer. With reference to blockchain technology, consider the following statements. It is a public ledger that everyone can inspect, but which no single user controls. Is that correct? Is the first statement correct? So yes, the first statement is correct. The structure and design of the blockchain is such that all the data in it are about cryptocurrency only. Is it about cryptocurrency only? So we have seen the many application or areas of blockchain. So it can be used in healthcare sector, it can be used in voting, it can be used in agriculture, it can be used in record keeping, it can be used in so many areas. So it is not only about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is one of the major application area of blockchain, but it can be used for so many purposes. So second statement is not correct. So if you eliminate second, so you see that you are left with only A option and D option. So we just need to check for the third statement. Application that depends on the basic feature of blockchain can be developed without anybody's permission. Applications that depend on the basic features of blockchain can be developed without anybody's permission. So what do you think about this one? Applications that depend on the basic features of blockchain can be developed without anybody's permission. So it is a decentralized. When you're talking about permission, there is some central body or there is some regulatory body. So you would need to take a permission, but in this case you need not take the permission. That is the idea. That is the idea here. Okay, so let us Internet of Things. We'll see. It is not very important topic as of now. Let us just try to understand this 3D printing. Yes. What do you understand by 3D printing? Why are we saying it as additive manufacturing? Yes, why are we saying it as additive manufacturing? See, the idea here is that why we are calling it as additive manufacturing, because it is different from subtractive manufacturing. So subtractive, if you see subtractive manufacturing, what is subtractive manufacturing? Subtractive manufacturing, traditionally, if you, let us say if you have to produce a sculpture of Gautam Buddha, so if you are taking a big piece of stone and if you want to make a sculpture of Gautam Buddha, so what do? That we remove the undesired part or we chip out the unnecessary parts. So that is subtractive. So we are taking a big block of let us say rock, and we are chipping out the undesired parts. So that is known as subtractive manufacturing. Here we are not going for subtractive, it is opposite to subtractive. Here we are adding layers by layers, and because of that it is called as additive manufacturing. So it is the process of making three-dimensional objects from a digital file. So because if we are adding at one time one layer only, it is, if you look at one step, it is just two dimension only, but on that two dimension we keep on repeating and adding different layers, so it becomes three-dimensional. So that is the idea of 3D printing. So 3D printing is an additive process which is created by laying down successive layer of material until the object is created. So that is the idea. What are the steps that we take in 3D printing? So we first need to create a 3D model. A 3D model, how is it created? Using some software. So the most famous software is your CAD software, and then we go for the most important step, that is slicing. What do you mean by slicing? So this 3D, let us say if you talk about this pen, if you have made a 3D model, then how can a printer print this pen? So it will need to cut into, let us say, hundreds or thousands of layers. So cutting means the software will cut into hundreds of thousands of layers. So printer will print each layer, printer will print each layer. So that slicing is essentially, the slicing of this 3D object is done by again a software only. So after slicing, then we go for printing. So that is the idea of printing, and then after printing we'll go for finishing. So that is the idea of 3D printing. So let us just try to answer this question number 2, that had come in 2018. Yes, question number 2, 3D printing has application. Yes, the answer is D. So let us just try to understand. So what is this about? 3D printing has applications in which of the following: preparation of confectionery items, manufacturing of bionic ears, automotive industry, reconstructive surgeries, data processing technologies. So what do you mean by manufacturing of bionic ears? So in 3D printing, if the input material is, let us say, living cells, so we can use 3D printing to even make ears or organs also. That is also known as 3D bioprinting. So 3D bioprinting is also possible. So when we are using living cells, then as an input, then we are calling it as 3D bioprinting. It is obviously used in automotive industry, so to make different parts of automobiles. So it is used in there. In reconstructive surgery, so again we are talking about what we are using some living cells to create a particular part of the organ or a section of the organ, so we can do that. So 3D printing can be utilized for that also. Now this part, data processing technology. So 3D printing can be used for data processing technology also. So let us take, so when we take Excel sheet, what do we do? So we take two sides, x and y, and we plot the data, and when we see an increasing trend, we can correlate that what is the importance of the data, or what is the data saying to us. So using 3D printers, we can go for data processing also. So data processing is also possible using 3D printing. Let us just try to look at this question number 3. So we are at question number 3. When the alarm of your smartphone rings in the morning, you wake up and tap it to stop the alarm, which causes your geyser to be switched on automatically. The smart mirror in your bathroom shows the day's weather and also indicates the level of water in your overhead tank. After you take some groceries from your refrigerator for making breakfast, it recognizes the shortage of stock in it and places an order for the supply of fresh grocery items. When you step out of the house and lock the doors, all lights, fans, geysers and AC machines get switched off automatically. On your way to the office, your car warns you about traffic congestion ahead and suggests an alternative route. And if you are late for a meeting, it sends a message to your office accordingly. So essentially, it is making you lazy. But what is this technology that we are talking about? So here we are talking about Internet of Things. So it appears to be a difficult question because it was a long question, but the concept is very simple. IoT is what? Internet of Things. So anything which is attached to internet. So nowadays, even your AC, even your refrigerator, even washing machine, they all can be attached to internet, or they are connected to internet, and because of that, so the data that they are producing can be processed, so they can be controlled, so that data that they are producing can be analyzed also. So this is the idea of internet of things. So when everything is connected to internet, that is called as internet of things. And the idea here is that we can control that data sitting anywhere, so remote control of these data is possible. That is the idea of this. Let us just look at 5G also. So 5G is a news. So 5G, we should try to understand what is this 5G. So what is the uniqueness about 5G, and how is it different from your 4G? So what is let us just also quickly see GSM and CDMA. GSM is a digital cellular technology which works on frequency division multiple access, whereby in GSM bandwidth is broken into carrier frequency, and each carrier frequency carries the carrier sequence. So GSM is so it is using frequency division multiple access. That is the uniqueness about this multiple access. So these are not very important from exam point of view. CDMA, so CDMA has also become a little outdated. So that uses spread spectrum technique. CDMA uses different codes to carry telephone conversations within the given bandwidth. Each user occupies the entire frequency spectrum, and multiple access is provided by allotting a distinct code to each telephone. So these are not very important now. We just need to have an idea of the previous generation. So what was the first generation of wireless telecommunication? First generation were based on analog radio signals, introduced in 1980s. Here what was the idea? That your wireless communication was possible. So only call was possible. Data and roaming was not possible, and so this was not possible. So this was the issue with respect to 1G. In 2G, second generation, wireless mobile communication using radio signals at a speed of up to a speed of 64 kbps. So again, the speed is not very important, but in 2G, along with voice, what you could also do was SMS, and very in small quantity data transmission was possible. And in 2.5, you would have seen this GPRS, General Packet Radio Services. So it was just an advancement over your 2G. So 2G, 3G. In 3G, what was done? So 3G speed increased to megabytes per second, and video calls. So uniqueness about 3G was that video calls, high speed mobile internet, so web browsing was possible. So web browsing through mobile was possible, and high speed data was also possible. So this was the uniqueness about 3G. Then in 3G you had this 3.5G again, so data speed is increasing. So what is the uniqueness about 5G? 5G is a network capable of supporting wireless worldwide broadband application, and it is an intelligent tech capable of interconnecting the entire world without limits. So see, it is, let us just compare 5G and 4G. The most unique quality is the latency part of 5G. That 5G has very low latency. So it is below 10 millisecond, and in best cases around 1 milliseconds. So here latency in 4G is higher, and you can see the speed also. It can be 1 Gbps. In fact, it can reach to up to 20 Gbps. The peak speed can be up to 20 Gbps. And here we are using much higher radio frequency. But you should also take a note that we are using radio frequency only. So what is radio frequency? So we have electromagnetic waves. Light is a electromagnetic wave. When we say light is an electromagnetic wave, so there are many types of electromagnetic waves, like you have the gamma ray, you have the X-ray, you have the UV ray, you have the visible ray, you have the infrared, then you have microwave, then you have this radio frequency. So radio frequency is also an electromagnetic wave having lower frequency but higher wavelength than compared to your visible light. and because of that it can reach to farther distances. That is the advantage of using radio frequency. And in radio frequency, so 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, they all are radio frequencies only. But even when we say radio frequency, it means that there is a range of radio frequency. So 1G was using lower range, 2G is using a little higher range or a higher frequency than your 1G. So similarly 3G, 4G. So here you can see that in 4G we are using lower frequency. So we are using what, 700 megahertz to 2500 megahertz. Here we are using 28 gigahertz, in the range of 28 gigahertz. So giga is 1000 times of mega. So here you are seeing that the frequency is quite high. And data speed depends upon the frequency of the electromagnetic wave. The higher the frequency of the electromagnetic wave, the higher the data speed transfer. So that is why 5G, because it is using a higher frequency than your 4G, that is why data speed transfer is very high, latency is very very low. And because of that we say that 5G will open doors to what is known as URLLC, that is ultra reliable low latency communication. Because of that, machine to machine communication will be possible. So let us say if we imagine that there are two self-driving cars and both are traveling in opposite direction, so in order to keep them not in order to avoid collision between them, they need to keep sending data. So when they are sending data on 4G, there is a chance that because of latency there could be possibility of accidents also. But when we are talking about 5G, so in 5G the latency will be very very low. Because the latency is very very low, so machine to machine interaction or communication is quite feasible. So this is the biggest advantage of 5G. It is not only about speed, it is also about latency. Because of the combination of speed and low latency, it is creating something what is called as ultra reliable low latency communication, which was not possible even with 4G. Yes, with 4G itself was a revolution. Why? Because of the 4G we saw increased mobile consumption of videos, so online education or video conferencing or digital interaction or the proliferation of your media. So digital media, it became prominent because of 4G. But 5G will completely revolutionize the IT sector. So that is the advantage of 5G over 4G. So in this table you can see 5G transfers more data over the air at a faster speed. So this we know why, because speed depends on frequency. Higher is the frequency, more is the speed of data transfer, and there is low latency. So that is why 5G is much better than all the previous generations. And we are also talking about 6G also, so it might take some more time, but 5G is here. But let us just also try to understand what are the different application areas of 5G. So 5G, so in 5G you can see industrial applications. So in the industrial application where it can be used, so it can be used in logistics sector, in shipping sector, in transportation sector. In transportation sector, it will enable what, vehicle to vehicle and vehicle to infrastructure communication, making driverless cars. So here when we are talking about self-driving cars is only possible only if you have these 5G networks. Why? Because all these cars need to be communicating with each other to avoid collision. So only and until we have a very reliable, ultra reliable low latency communication network, we cannot go for completely self-driving or what is known as self-autonomous cars. So we need to have this 5G network. So real-time delivery of information across fields such as manufacturing, consumer durables, that is possible. So critical application, critical application is telemedicine. In telemedicine, so we can interact with the doctors. With 5G it is possible to go for remote surgery also. So what is remote surgery? Doctor is sitting at some other place, the patient is sitting at some other place. So because of this quality, the very good quality of video feed, and because of very low latency, so the doctors can perform remote surgery. So this is not possible, let us say, using 4G or 3G. Here it is possible in 5G only. So in critical technology or in critical application areas also 5G can be relied upon. So this is the biggest advantage, and it obviously we are saying that it will lead to job opportunity. So jobs will be created throughout the value chain of 5G. When we say throughout the value chain of 5G, so there are original equipment manufacturers like your Ericsson or Nokia or Qualcomm or Huawei. So they will produce what the original equipments. So in India, so there are players, so internet service providers, or they are companies like Jio and Airtel. They will buy equipments from the original equipment manufacturer, and they will utilize those equipments to set up the 5G network. Then what will happen? Then there will be content creation. So there will be people who will be involved in content creation. So there also jobs will be created, and then we will be also seeing that using that content, people will be consuming more data. So more such services can be availed. So throughout the value chain from production to consumption, so jobs will be created, and the advantage is that because it is a high level technology, so the jobs that will be created will be will be requiring high skill level, and that is the advantage. So we'll be generating high skilled jobs, so which is needed for the development of our country. So your economic survey also talks about creating good jobs, so good jobs which are not only paying good money, but which is also providing social security, which helps in upgrading our skills, which helps in overall upliftment of the societal social parameters. So good jobs are needed, and 5G has that potential. Again, it can also be used in agriculture. So in smart farming it can be used. So you're using sensors and GPS technology. Farmers can track the location of the livestock, and irrigation control, access control, energy management. So all of this can be done using your 5G. 5G again, it can be used for social welfare. So in the healthcare sector it can be used. Smart medical devices, so wearable devices can continuously monitor patient's health condition and activate alert during the situation of emergency. So this is one of the application areas of your uh, of 5G. In smart cities for traffic management, so these are some of the areas where it can be used. For energy management, power grid, water resource management, crowd management. So there are many areas where it can be used. It can prevent road accidents, it can mitigate disasters, elevating the experiences. So these are some of the application areas of your 5G. But we also need to understand the challenges of 5G. So what are the challenges of 5G? The challenges of 5G is that first of all, we'll need to develop a new infrastructure itself. So the network providers, they will have to buy equipments from the original equipment manufacturers. They'll have to set up the network. So they will need a new level of newly skilled people, so those who have skills of 5G. Then we will as an individual user, we will need 5G devices, new 5G devices. So that will increase the cost. So overall the cost of adoption of this 5G technology will be increased. So that is a cause of concern. So non-viability, so Indian telecom industry lacks adequate capital with them, which is responsible for delay of 5G spectrum allocation. So this was an issue which was raised by the Indian telecom companies. So telecom companies like etc. Airtel had said that they cannot afford 5G spectrum at the current reserve prices. So there was an issue with respect to reserve prices also. And late adoption, why are we saying we have gone for late adoption? Because many other developed countries, they have already adopted it, but India has also started, but our adoption was little late. And one of the biggest problem is in India is digital divide. So according to International Telecom Union, it says only 43% of the population of India uses internet. It means that around 60% of the population is not on internet. So if they are not on internet, so this gap will widen because of 5G. So only people, those who are using internet, will be benefiting from 5G, and those people, those who are not using internet, they will not benefit from 5G because the 5G devices might be costly, so adoption can be slower. And interference, various, so there were various reports that some of the flights were cancelled. So in India some flights were cancelled, in USA also some of the flights they were cancelled. So there were concerns that these 5G or network will interfere with air traffic control, so that was a concern. But again, so studies are going on, so these concerns will be addressed in the future, so that will not be a problem in the future. But we just need to be aware of this also. So it can lead to health risk also. So this is one of the major concerns, that setting up of, since 5G, the concern with respect to 5G is that since 5G is using higher frequency, so its range will be less. Any electromagnetic wave, if you go for higher frequency, the range becomes less, because when frequency increases, wavelength decreases. Because the wavelength decreases, it means that we'll have to set up more towers. Because we are setting up more towers, so these radiations from the towers can damage animal health and human health. And again, with respect to who will study these things, then WHO studies the impact of radio waves on human and animal health. So previously it has studied the impact of the conventional phones, like the 4G phones, which works or operates in 2 megahertz or till 2 megahertz. Then it found that it is not very harmful to health. So WHO will come out with some reports, but there are some concerns with respect to health risk also. And greater risk, greater speed is more rewarding for data thieves also. So data exfiltration will be quite easier for those who are trying to extract the data or to so the missions impossible will now be possible. Automation magnifies the pre-existing organization flaws. So this is also a problem, that because of 5G we'll go for more automation, and this can lead to magnification of the problems also. So let us now look at another topic. So this topic is also important. So why? Because many of the companies, so if you look at some of the reports, I just wanted to show you a report. So some of the reports, so if you look at a report which was published by Deloitte says that the big companies which are having a profit in the range or profit in the range of $1 million to $1 billion, they are leveraging virtual reality and augmented reality. So what is virtual reality and what is augmented reality? In fact, Facebook, it has renamed itself. So it is now calling itself as Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg believes in what is known as metaverse. So what is this metaverse? So what is this augmented reality? What is this virtual reality? And what do you mean by this ER and MR? So you need to have clarity with respect to all these terms. So questions are based on this basic understanding of these terms, or what are these concepts. So if you talk about virtual reality, the name actually is a misnomer. Why it is a misnomer? Why we are saying that it is a misnomer? Because there is no reality at all. It is in virtual reality we are creating a completely different virtual world. It is a completely automated, or it is a completely simulated environment. So to get into virtual reality we need to wear some instruments, like you would have seen that people nowadays are wearing headsets. So when you wear the headset and you are having some devices in your hand, then you are entering into a completely automated world, completely computer simulated world. Here why are we using the term reality? It is because even the simulated world, there whatever objects that you are seeing, whatever environment that you are seeing, it mimics the reality. That we are living in. That is why it is also called as virtual reality. But it is not reality. It is completely virtual. But when we talk about augmented reality, it is different from virtual reality. So in augmented reality, we begin with reality, so we are living in reality. We are not entering into a virtual, completely virtual world, but what we are doing that in the reality itself we are adding some layers of virtuality, or we are adding some computer generated images. So in augmented reality, what we are doing that we begin with reality and we add some computer generated images, and that augments the reality. It makes the reality better, or it makes the reality more informative or more immersive. So that is the idea of augmented reality. So for augmented reality, you might not even need some extensive instruments also. So you can just use your mobile phone. You can use your mobile phone camera to access augmented reality. So the famous game Pokemon Go is a classical example of augmented reality. So this is augmented reality. And when we say extended reality is an umbrella term which uses both. It includes virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality. Mixed reality is that when you are in a situation where you are using both augmented reality and virtual reality, then you say that you are in a mixed reality world. So in this let us just in this table we are just trying to see the differences between virtual reality and augmented reality. So on this side, AR uses a real world setting, VR uses completely virtual. VR is completely virtual. In VR, users are controlled by the system, and in AR, users can control their presence in the real world. So that is the difference between augmented reality. It requires a headset. Virtual reality requires a headset. AR can be accessed with a smartphone. AR can be just accessed with some of the smartphones also. VR enhances a fictional reality only, and AR enhances both the virtual and the real world. It enhances both the virtual and the real world. So that is the idea of virtual reality and augmented reality. So there are many areas of applications of extended reality, or we are saying collectively AR and VR. So in defense can help in improving the situational awareness of the soldiers using AR technology. So we are using what is called as tactical augmented reality. In advertising nowadays, we are using AR and VR. Example, the Jaguar Land Rover put prospective car buyers in virtual driver's seat of its latest models without visiting the dealership. So this is an advantage. So many companies are leveraging this AR and VR. In healthcare also, if we are using this extended reality to replace ultrasound scanners, as it will help in locating blood vessels very accurately, that too in a shorter period of time. So in pharmaceuticals, AR can help scientists to picture the structure of complex molecules, and we can also create a simulated environment for surgeries also. So we can train doctors and nurses for these surgeries also. So for training purposes also it can be used. It will benefit the logistic industries at multiple levels of their cost. So it will last mile delivery and enhanced value added service will also be possible. So we are trying to even create e-commerce platforms which will use this AR and VR to mimic the physical stores. So in virtual stores or in the e-commerce platforms, what is the problem that we are seeing? That we cannot touch and feel the products. So we are not able to decide with respect to some of the products, like especially with respect to wearable items. So here we will be able to touch and feel the products, and that is the advantage of AR and VR. Let us just read this question number 3, and try to solve this question. Okay, so let us just read this question. In augmented reality, a simulated environment is created and the physical world is completely shut out. Is this statement correct? No. So in VR, this happens. So first is wrong, second is also wrong. So in second we are saying in virtual reality images generated from a computer are projected onto real life objects or surrounding. So here this is wrong. So here we are not talking about VR, we are talking about AR. AR allows, now looking at the third statement, AR allows individuals to be present in the world and improves the experience using the camera of a smartphone or PC. Yes, that is true. VR closes the world and transposes an individual, providing complete immersion experience. Yes, that is also true with respect to AR and VR. So the correct answer is B, that is 3 and 4. So let us now look at some of the computing dimensions. Computing, so here we'll try to develop what is cloud computing, what is edge computing, what is nowadays we talk about quantum computing. So we'll try to develop an understanding of all these things. So with respect to computing, let us just see the origin of computing. So on the basis of function and performance, we categorized computers as analog computers, digital computers, and hybrid computers. See, from exam point of view, what do we need to understand? That the earliest computers, so these microcomputers, they were not essentially the earliest computers. We have some analog computers previous to that also, but this is not very important. So the first type of computers that had come were mini computers, and then later came the microcomputers, but the main breakthrough was through the mainframe computers. Even the mainframe computers is not very important from exam point of view. What is very important from exam point of view is supercomputer. Supercomputers are in news. So supercomputers, why they are in news? So many supercomputers in India are coming up, which are being built under the National Supercomputing Mission. So because of that mission only, many supercomputers in India are being built. So what is a supercomputer? Supercomputer is nothing but a form of a conventional computer only, but they are the biggest and the fastest supercomputers in the current period, and they are designed to process huge amounts of data so that a supercomputer can process trillions of instructions in a second. They are used in scientific and engineering applications, and the first ever supercomputer was developed in 1976 by Roger Cray. I'll just check the spelling. It is Roger Cray or Seymour Cray. I'll check the spelling. Flops. So you will see these terms, flops, and you will see petaflops. So what is flops? It is floating point operations per second. Floating point operations, it means you just need to know that it is the string or the number of strings that it can process per seconds. So that is the idea. More the flops, the more the potential or more the processing power of the computer. Petaflop, so petaflop is 1,000 trillion floating point. 1,000 trillion. So 1,000 trillion means it is 10 to the power 12. So it is 10 to the power 12 flops. Petaflop is 10 to the power 12 flops. So that is the idea of petaflop. What are the various application areas of supercomputers? So the application areas of supercomputers, so there are many. So it can be used in healthcare sector, it can be used in security, it can be used in environment, in scientific research. In USA, so in the most significant area of application in USA is that they are trying to mimic nuclear explosions also using IBM's supercomputer that is known as Sequoia. So using that, they are trying to enrich their nuclear weapons. So supercomputers can be used for that also. Supercomputers is used for exploring your solar system So when we are trying to understand what is dark matter, so we are trying to use, or we are trying to take the help of supercomputers only. So in healthcare sector, for diagnosis of disease, and for producing good results in strokes. So in one of the major application in health sector was in finding out the genome sequence of the human genome itself. So supercomputers were used, and for the all the types of genomic processes, genomic sequencing that is going on globally, we are utilizing the power of the supercomputers only. So you need to know of some of the applications. So you can see in this document some of the applications, some of the advantages, but you need to know some of the recent developments. So which is the fastest supercomputer in the world? So Frontier of USA is the fastest supercomputer in the world, and then followed by Fugaku of Japan. Then the others are not very important. This Summit previously was the fastest supercomputer again of USA, but now it is not the fastest supercomputer. And in the number of supercomputer, you will see that China leads the world in maximum number of supercomputers. But the fastest supercomputer is the Frontier supercomputer, which is the US world's fastest supercomputer. In India, Param was the first supercomputer, and Param Shivai was the first supercomputer assembled indigenously and is installed in IIT BHU. So Param Shiva is the first indigenously developed. So these things you should remember. And we have also installed Param Shakti at IIT Kharagpur, Param Brahma at IISCR Pune, Param Yukti at JNCR, Param Sanganak. So all these supercomputers are being built under this program, National Supercomputing Mission, Param Siddhi, the high performance computing artificial intelligence. So here we have entered this Param Siddhi has entered the top 5 supercomputer with a rank of 63. Mihir is another supercomputer which has a global rank. So there are 3 supercomputers of India, so which are in the global rank, that you should know. So Param Siddhi, Mihir, and one also Pratyush. So Pratyush is being used by IITM, that is Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, that is being used for weather forecasting. So what is the government mission? So government mission, you should know that government has started the National Supercomputing Mission in 2015, and government here will try to build a network of supercomputing. So it is planned in 3 phases. So in first phase we'll go for assembling of supercomputers, then it includes manufacturing of certain components within the country, and then we'll go for designing of the supercomputer. And here under this mission only we are trying to develop many supercomputers. So all these supercomputers that you are seeing, so Param Shivai, Param Ganga is also there. Param Ganga is at IIT Roorkee. Then you have this Param Shivai, Param Shakti, Param Brahma. So you should take a note of these. You just need to have an idea where what are these supercomputers and where they are. And here we are also trying to say that one of the objectives in the country is to connect them to form a supercomputing grid with the backbone of NKN. So NKN also you should know what is NKN. NKN is a national knowledge network. It is a strong and robust Indian network which will connect the capable of providing secure and reliable connectivity. So previously all the research organizations and all the universities, they have been connected together using a high speed internet network. So we are using that network also to create this supercomputing grid. So we are utilizing that power also. So next important topic that we should know is cloud computing. So what is this cloud computing? So here cloud computing, you can just understand that cloud means what. Why are we using cloud computing? If you ask any example, so one of the best example of cloud computing is AWS, Amazon Web Services. But other examples like cloud, Google Cloud, or your Dropbox or Apple Cloud, they are providing just one type of services, mainly storage services. But when you say cloud computing, it is not only storage, but it incorporates all the aspects of computing. So processing of data, analyzing of data, storing of data, running programs, hosting programs, video streaming, song streaming. So it includes every aspect of computing. So cloud computing, so there are cloud computers which provide these services. So let us say if I am an individual business owner, and if I want to have, or if I want to develop some software for usage or for providing some services, then I would need to buy some computers, I would need to buy some servers where I can store data, I would need to keep some people, those who are expert in this, to maintain the system and maintain the servers. So here it increases the cost of the individual business owners. So what I as an individual can do is that I can just take the cloud services, or I can just pay some fee to cloud service providers, and I can get access to these computing services. So I just need to have a basic computer and an internet connection. So using that internet connection, I'll be able to connect myself to the cloud computers. So in that cloud, I can do all the processing of data, storage of data, maintenance of data, analysis of data, backup of data. So all of this is possible by paying some fees. So this is the idea of cloud computing. So Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, so all these are cloud service only. So what are the advantages of cloud? That it reduces the infrastructure cost. So it is elastic. It means that when the business cycle is going up, you can increase, if you can just pay more fees and get more services. If the business cycle is declining, then we can decrease the services. So lesser maintenance is required, because not every individual will be required to maintain this. So we can decrease the cost. So export companies like Amazon Web Services, they are maintaining it. So because they are maintaining it, so they are experts in this field. So we do not require maintenance at every premises. So that is the advantage. Multiple tenancy, it means we are sharing the resources. Because of the sharing of resources, there is an advantage that we are able to utilize it. So there is more synergy, and that is an advantage. And easy global deployment. What do you mean by easy global deployment? It means that we can deploy it anywhere. So these cloud service providers, they are present everywhere, and we can deploy them. So that is the biggest advantage of this. So now we also need to understand there are three types of services. Now this services, so this was a question asked last year. Google Photos, yes, so that is just one example, Ishwarya, that Google Photos, so the photos that you are saving is not getting stored at your device, it is getting stored at Google Cloud. So that is also an example, but that is just one aspect of your cloud. So there are three types of services in cloud. One is known as IaaS, the other is known as PaaS, platform as a service, and the third one is known as SaaS. So now what is this IaaS? Infrastructure as a service. Second one is platform as a service, and SaaS is software as a service. What are the examples that we can use? Infrastructure as a service, let us say we are a small business owner and we want to have some access to some of the computing services, like we want some processing power, we want some storage space, then we can get that. So that is known as infrastructure as a service. Then you have this platform as a service. It means let us say you are a coder, you are a developer of programs, so you would need some programming language. So you would need to buy that programming language, so it would cost you. So what you can do, instead of buying that programming language, you can just pay some fees to the cloud service provider, and they will provide you a platform where you can access these programming languages, and you can run the programming language on their platform only, and you can run and deploy the whatever output that you are getting. So it is acting as a platform. So it is allowing the application developers and the the programming language so they are making you meet there. So it is a platform, it is acting like a platform. Then at the end, we are at the top, we have what is known as SaaS, software as a service. Software as a service, it means just like we use email. Email is what? A software. Email is a software, like Google email, the Gmail that we use is a software. So here, once a programmer has developed a program or a software, then the other people like you and me can use this software. So we need not buy the software from the owner, we will just pay some rent to the cloud service provider and we'll use the software. So that is the idea. So there are three main types of services in cloud. So here we have infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service, so IaaS involves delivering on-demand services and computing infrastructure. So it is very similar to traditional computer hardware. So however, the only difference is that it operates virtually. So we need not have computer hardware, but it will feel that we are having the hardware. Why? We just need some internet connection, a basic device through which we'll connect, and we'll use the hardware of the cloud. So one need not buy physical infrastructure. We are not buying any physical infrastructure, but can easily purchase it in form of virtual services. So we have Google computing engine, we have Amazon web services, which is considered one of the best services. And then you have the platform as a service, PaaS. PaaS is a cloud delivery service model for various applications. So using PaaS, developers can build various services and applications over the internet itself. So the developers are using this platform for developing softwares. So that is the idea. It is used to easily and quickly customize and build apps. So platform as a service, it is used to build apps. So who are building apps? So application developers. So we have many examples like Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure. And then software as a service, it is the most prevalent cloud service available. It allows the users to run existing online apps. SaaS provides various softwares like word processing, email. So nowadays when you are using Google Documents, or Google Excel sheets, so what are those? So those are again your SaaS only. SaaS applications, users can directly through web browsers use them, so thus eliminating the need to install any application. So you need not have, let us say, Microsoft Office on your laptop. You can just open the Microsoft or these cloud Office documents, so just using the cloud. So cloud computing in India, what is India doing about cloud computing? So the Indian government has started what is known as the National Cloud Initiative. This you can take a note of, that we have started what is known as Meghraj. So various government applications and services are being put on the cloud. It is to accelerate the delivery of e-services in the country while optimizing the ICT spending of the government. Various applications of cloud computing in India. So in infrastructure sector, for smart city we are using. In banking sector, RBI is working towards achieving 100% financial inclusion with the help of technology, including cloud computing. So it will be used for financial inclusion also. Then this Indian Banking Community Cloud, first community cloud initiative for banking sector. So Indian banking is also using community cloud. And in manufacturing sector, there are many application areas which you can see. In governance, there is a major application. So what is the major application is the e-gram panchayat. So in e-gram panchayat, so individual villages or individual panchayats might not have the resources to install your computing or computers or set up data servers, so they can use the cloud service provider provided by government, and citizens at the local places, they can utilize these services. So railway is also storing their data on cloud, and we have the grievance portal also for IT application on rail cloud, which is acting as a platform for resolution of service related grievances. So that is also being saved on cloud. Then we have the famous DigiLocker, so this you would be using. So it is a public cloud storage. And what is the uniqueness of this DigiLocker? It is not just storage only, it is also going for digital verification. So unlike in your, if you save some document on Google Cloud, it is not verified, but if you're saving something on DigiLocker, it is verified. That is the uniqueness of DigiLocker. That is the uniqueness of DigiLocker. Last year some questions were asked on this. Let me bring those questions. So if I have, let us just look at this question number 33. We are looking at question number 33. Question number 33. Let us just try to solve this question. Yes. So the answer here is that SaaS buyers can customize the user interface and can change data fields. So yes, we can customize. So the front end in these cases can be customized. So even in your email or in your Gmail, you could see that you can change the color or theme. So the front end is front end can be customized, but the back end where your emails is getting stored, and which server it is getting stored, how many copies are being made, that you cannot control, but the front end we can control. So yes, SaaS buyers can customize. So even this term, so here can, it means it is, there is a greater possibility, so you cannot negate this one. So the first statement is also correct. SaaS users can access the data through their mobile devices. Yes, so we can access the data through mobile devices. We just need to have what, internet connection. So through internet connection we can access the data or the SaaS data. So we can use our mobile to access our emails or our cloud data. So that is true. Outlook, Hotmail and Yahoo, they all mails are forms of SaaS. So they are forms of SaaS only. Why? Because they have developed the software and we are end users, so we are using those softwares. So that is an example of SaaS only. So this question on NFT we have already done. Okay, so let us just try to look at one of the questions, a very simple question that was asked. This is the topic that we began with, Web 3.0. So we are talking about this question now. So question number 32, let us just try to solve this question. So with reference to Web 3.0, consider the following statements. Web 3.0 technology enables people to control their own data. Yes, it enables the people to control their own data. In Web 3.0, there can be blockchain based social networks. So we said that in Web 3.0 we are going for blockchain Blockchain is the method through which we'll be able to create decentralized internet. That is the idea. Web 3.0 is operated by users collectively rather than a corporation. So that is the idea, that every individual is responsible. So everybody is acting as a owner of this. So that is the idea of Web 3.0. So in science and technology, there is often a conception that we think that science and technology is nothing but current affairs only. But you'll see the questions that we have seen. It might appear that it is current affairs, but you need to have a basic understanding of the concepts itself. So this is a myth, I believe, that that science and technology is only current affairs. Yes, the context is current, but to have clarity you need the understanding of the basics. So in these short videos that we are trying to do is that we are also focusing not only on current, but we are focusing on the conceptual aspects of these topics. So that is my idea, that we should be clear with the concepts. If we are clear with the concepts, then any variations in these questions you will be able to answer them. Otherwise there is no end to current affairs. But if you have conceptual clarity with these topics, then you can answer most of these questions quite easily. So with this we'll end this session, and we'll see you tomorrow at around 6 p.m. tomorrow. So for tomorrow science and technology, it has been scheduled at 6 p.m. So any doubts? Okay, so if there are no doubts, so we'll close this session.